Thank you very much for taking the time to share a bit about your journey. So we started coaching together, well, over 6 months ago now. So tell me a little bit, what was going on in your life before you were working with me?
Hi, Mandy. Well, I didn't realise what was going on at the time, but I can look back now with hindsight and see what was happening. And a lot of things over a period of time sort of accumulated in my life. I moved countries. I was married. I started a new life in a new country. I had to start a new career. I took on a lot of work from the church group that I joined. So a lot of things started accumulating. And I was just, at the time, I realised I was dealing with things just day to day, just coping. And it wasn't until some financial issues arose in my life that it sort of was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I found I just didn't know how to deal with it. And my coping mechanism was because I personally didn't know how to deal with it. And I always have taken pride in solving my own problems. I sort of pushed it out of my mind and tried to ignore it. And it just, I can see now it just simmered away and it kept worrying me. And that hole that I was in just kept getting deeper and deeper to the point where I couldn't find a way out. I just didn't know how to do it. I couldn't deal with this issue that was there, which then started to affect everything else in my life, including my work, including my relationship. And everything was just starting to spiral out of control. Yeah, the first time in my life I found myself in that situation and I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and it's a difficult one to be in. I mean, obviously lots of people come to me when they're stuck. But when we get stuck, as I found, especially high achieving people, they tend to berate themselves and beat themselves up and feel they should be able to do it on their own. And all of that negative self-talk, as you know, makes us feel worse. And then we almost get even stucker in this hole. And it's like trying to get out of a deep well where the sides are slippery mud. We just can't crawl out. So what was your decision to contact me? Because I'm not sure whether you'd done anything else before you called me.
No, I hadn't done anything else because I was thinking to myself, okay, deal with this. You can do this. You can sort this out. And it came to a head at work where I found that I just couldn't deal with the most basic things at work. And I had to do reports, for instance, that I would normally knock out in a day, and it was taking me a week. And I thought, and I got to the point where I realised they're going to notice what's going on here. My job's going to be on the line, and then my relationship started to not be as good. So I thought, I've got to do something here. And I came to a light bulb moment, I guess, where I had been looking at your blogs and your Facebook posts for quite a while, and I've known you, Mandy, for a long time, and I've seen what you've been doing. I've seen the success you've had in your own personal life and with other people, and I thought to myself, if I'm going to reach out, that's the sort of person I need to reach out to, someone who really knows what they're talking about and has proved that they can turn things around. So eventually I came to that. And the hardest thing was to realise and acknowledge I couldn't do this on my own. I needed help.
Yeah, and that's such an important realisation, and I think we've mentioned this before, but that was exactly my learning so many years ago. And we used to, many years ago when you were in Australia, we obviously did triathlons together, so we do go back. But then you moved to England, and it's great that my work has no borders. But as we said years ago, I was so stuck as well, and I thought I had to do everything on my own. And I think that was my greatest learning in life, and that one of the hardest things was to actually ask for help. So I totally respect that with all my clients and everybody that comes to me. Asking for help is so difficult. Yeah. So you reached out. We worked together for quite a while, and you were pretty stuck. There was a lot of procrastinating and overwhelm, which it happens when we get stuck. So along the way, tell me a little bit about some of your successes and the shifts that occurred during our work.
One of the first things that we talked about, which stays with me now and I still practice it, was changing my way of thinking. And a simple thing that you showed me was, because I wasn't achieving anything, I was just procrastinating. I was in this hole where I didn't think I could do anything because I had been in that hole for so long. But one simple thing you showed me was to start achieving things just every day. Write down 3 things I must do that day. And as I do them, cross them out. And when I first started doing that, I struggled, sounds pathetic, but I struggled to do 3 things a day. And eventually, as I started crossing those things off, I started feeling like almost the euphoria of, yeah, I've achieved that. Whereas before I'd been just procrastinating and not really achieving it. And so that was one simple thing that I still do now. And sometimes it's more than 3 things now. But that's helped me to change my mindset of thinking that I can't do this, to, yeah, I can do this. And then you cross it off, and that reinforces that belief that you can do it and you've actually done it. One of the things I've done now is to adopt the word discipline in my life. Discipline was my enemy, and that's now become my friend. If I can discipline myself to do, first of all, that one simple thing, and then a lot of other things in my life, I can keep moving forward, and it just changes your whole outlook on life and your whole feeling about worth and so forth in life.
Discipline actually gives us freedom, but we also have to work around how we're hardwired. And I'm, currently doing extra studies, which is awesome, in neuroscience. But there are certain methods and ways that we need to hack our brain to avoid our hardwiring of just keeping us safe and moving away from words that we have an association that's unpleasant and hard work, because ultimately we are a little bit lazy. And we also, I believe, worked on helping you get some other morning routines in your life and daily routines to give yourself a bit of a structure.
One of the morning routines is I always spend time first thing in the morning, just to be thankful for the life I've got and everything I have, because when you are in a bit of a hole, when things aren't going the way you hoped, you tend to focus more on the negatives, and that then affects your whole mindset and the rest of your life. And so first thing in the morning, focusing on the positives, and we all have so much positive in our life that we sometimes don't realise. It just sets you up for the rest of the day. Straight away, you've got that positive mindset to start the day, and then achieving those daily things each day, crossing them off. And then weekly, I don't always do this, I slip occasionally, but I do a series of questions each week to just review how I've gone that week, what I've done, what problems I've had, how I've overcome them, anything that might be still lingering. And that just helps to review the week, to feel positive vibes from the good things that have happened, and to identify potential issues that I need to deal with in the coming week to make sure I can keep moving forwards.
So tell us a little bit about how you've also got back into some exercise and what you've sort of done. If you would.
One of the things that happened was when I wasn't achieving the things I wanted to do, when I was stuck in that hole. This sounds crazy, but I would punish myself by not doing the things that I really enjoyed, because I thought if I'm not doing the things that I need to do, then I have no right to be doing the things that I enjoy. So I stopped exercising, was one of the things. And there was a big part of my life before that. And I just couldn't face it. But with changing things around now, I'm back into exercise. I'm swimming, I'm cycling, I'm running. As you said, I've recently set a new PB for the last 15 years for my 5K run. So things are on the improve, and I'm doing really well. And I'm now doing some wild water swimming in the UK, which is really exciting.
Not everyone does. A PB is a personal best. Many years ago, Greg and I ran together, and he was always, we called him the Gazelle. And I think your PB now is pretty awesome for going from nowhere to where you are now. So that's fantastic. And I know that you feel much better now you're back into exercise.
Yeah, I've always known that mental health and physical health go hand in hand. So when one's down, it drags the other one down. If you can pull your mental health up or your physical health, it helps to keep the other one healthy as well. So I feel so much better having both of those now starting to build back up again.
And I believe that, the ripple effect of your changes has caused you to step up in other areas. So tell us a little bit about how you stepped up and what you've done in that, just briefly.
Oh yes, I was since I come over here, I was involved in our church, and when the COVID issue came, there was a committee of us who did things, and a few of the rest of the committee all had issues with young kids. Some had very vulnerable family in COVID, and another one had a stroke. So one by one, they all sort of had to take a step back. So I had to take the lead, which was well out of my comfort zone. But it's worked out very well. We've been supporting a lot of the vulnerable members of our church. We've been doing weekly online services and meetings through the week. I've been visiting people and so forth, and I have had to step up out of my comfort zone, and I probably couldn't have done that in my old mindset the way I was before. But now I'm really enjoying it, and I'm finding a lot of fulfillment out of doing that, and I can see that coming back at me as well from the people in our church who are appreciating all that.
And that's wonderful, and I just love what happens when we work on ourselves and we shift our mindset and we get out of our own way, and we get unstuck. So many positive things ripple out from this, and it so impacts other people's lives in so many ways. I think that's the beautiful thing about when we invest in ourselves and we get to know who we really are. We help so many other people, which I think is one of the greatest gifts. So what's next for you, or what other difference will it make for you going forward?
Well, I can now. Before I couldn't really see what was coming. It was just dark clouds, because I thought, this is just more of the same. But now I can see light. It's like an old cliche. I can see light at the end of the tunnel, but there really is, and I'm really looking forward to the future and getting involved in new things. We've just done a lot of renovating at home, so that was exciting. We're doing new things with our church. Sally and I are getting on really well, and I'm now at the stage in life where I'm contemplating retirement, which was a bit scary before, but now it's quite exciting to think, what am I going to do? What hobbies am I going to take on? What am I going to do with my life after this? And I'm looking forward to it. And on top of that, work is going really well now. I'm now on top of things there, and my team is going really well. And so I'm actually looking at potentially doing a few events, like a few races in the future with friends. So everything's looking very positive, whereas before I couldn't really see where I was going or what the future would hold, but it didn't look rosy.
So what would your advice be to somebody if they were where you were, stuck in that hole or that well with slippery sides, knowing how difficult it was for you to take that step?
I'd say if you're feeling like you're stuck, just don't be afraid to reach out, to admit that you need help, and to reach out to help, for somebody to help you, because life's too short to look back years later and think, oh, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd changed this. We need to act now, change things, and sometimes we do need help. Sometimes we just can't work it out ourselves. But the best thing is to reach out to somebody who you know has the tools and the experience to be able to help you, a professional like Mandy. I had the advantage of knowing Mandy, and I know where Mandy's come from, and I knew that Mandy has the tools because she has been a success in her life, and I've seen other people's lives who've been touched by Mandy. And so I would say just reach out, ask for help instead of just sitting there.
And we all know that we achieve even more with a coach. Yes, we can get there on our own, but you ask any Olympian or any elite athlete, you know, what their perspective is on a coach, and they'll all tell you it's a vital part. And I know people like Novak Djokovic might have a team of 9 coaches and mentors on his side. However, I believe all humans perform better in their lives with some support and somebody on their side who can be a neutral sounding board, like a mirror, so that they can reflect and people can get their own inductive learnings. So thank you so much for sharing, Greg.
In regard to choosing a coach, for me, just one thing that helped me a lot was working with you, Mandy, because it meant I was answerable to someone. I know you weren't going to whip me if I didn't do what you said, but it meant I had to be answerable to someone, whereas when I was trying to do it myself, I didn't have to be answerable. If I didn't do it, no one really cared except me. So that was another thing that really helped me.
Cool, thanks. And you're so right. We're so poor at, we have discipline at school because we have to go, but once we leave school, we have nobody to discipline ourselves and keep us on track except ourselves. So thank you so much, Greg. It's a pleasure. And obviously we're still continuing in a maintenance or continuation program I work. So it's so exciting to see the next chapters of your incredible shifts and opportunities that are coming in for you, opening up.
Thank you too, Mandy, very much.